Scovillain is a new Gen 9 Pokemon that I was quite excited for when I first learned about it. It seemed like a potential new staple for Sun teams in competitive singles that could breathe some new life into the archetype. I personally used this Pokemon on my first Day 1 team, and I very quickly discovered that it was a bit underwhelming for the OU power level. And unfortunately, since Torkoal is currently ranked in OU, Scovillain doesn't really have a home in the lower tiers either. It's ranked all the way down in PU because of this, with pretty much no good application in any competitive format. Let's take a look at what went wrong with Scovillain. 80% of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy my videos, I'd appreciate it if you would take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Thank you. Scovillain is the first Pokemon ever with a Grass-Fire type combination. Grass and Fire complement each other very well offensively, so having stab damage on both of these types is great. This is also the first ever Fire type Pokemon with Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a powerful ability that gives a Pokemon double speed in the Sun. A big reason why Sun has historically been inferior to Rain is because Pokemon with Swift Swim tend to be better at taking advantage of the rain. Almost all Swift Swim Pokemon are water types, meaning they have water stab, which is also boosted by rain, giving them a massive damage output alongside that double speed. Chlorophyll Pokemon on the other hand are primarily grass types. While some Chlorophyll Pokemon like Venusaur do have their advantages with access to Sleep Powder, Weather Ball, and Solar Beam, Swift Swim Pokemon tend to be more reliable and immediately threatening offensively. Water is quite a spammable offensive type that can even power through resistances sometimes in the rain thanks to those stab and weather boosts. A new Chlorophyll Pokemon finally being a fire type is a pretty big deal. Scovillain can hit huge stab boosted, sun boosted fire moves, as well as complement that fire damage with excellent grass stab options like Solar Beam, Leaf Storm, or Grass Knot. Scovillain also has a solid attack stat and access to Stomping Tantrum for some ground type coverage, which is nice to hit fire types that resist your stabs, as well as the popular special wall Clodsire. It even has growth to boost both of its offensive stats in the Sun. While all of this sounds fantastic, there's one very obvious problem: Scovillain's horrible defenses. They really could have given this thing the world's slightest bit of bulk, but unfortunately switching into anything is a tall order for this poor chili pepper. This Pokemon not only needs Sun support to actually pose any kind of threat, it needs support from pivots to get it into the battle safely, and some sort of plan against Stealth Rock as well because of its crippling rock weakness. Its offensive stats are pretty good, but not anything crazy. Excellent stab types and the Sun boost help out quite a lot, but if you aren't able to one-hit whatever's in front of you, then it's probably gonna just take you out in a single hit. This poor bulk makes you very vulnerable to priority moves like Kingambit's Sucker Punch and Dragonite's Extreme Speed. Dragonite in general is a huge roadblock for Scovillain, completely resisting or shrugging off everything it can do, and directly threatening it with a huge priority move. These hard truths are unfortunate for Scovillain fans, but believe it or not, there's more. The addition of the ability Protosynthesis has created even more powerful options for Sun teams that are much more alluring than Scovillain. The thing about Scovillain is that without Sun it can't really function. It's too slow and it doesn't do enough damage. Great Tusk and Roaring Moon on the other hand are excellent and commonly used Pokemon even outside of Sun teams, and on Sun teams they're enhanced even further. These two Pokemon are pretty much auto-includes on every Sun team because of this. Eject Button Hatterene is another borderline auto-include. Sun teams really appreciate the counterplay against rocks and the extra pivot. There's usually only one slot for a special attacker on these teams, and although Scovillain provides something they can't, with Chlorophyll and its great stab types, there are still superior choices to Scovillain that are generally more consistent and flexible. Since Roaring Moon does so well in the speed department for Sun teams, it tends to be better to run some kind of Wall Breaker or Game Ender in this slot. Volcarona is a good choice, a boost sweeping offensive fire type that is great in general and is enhanced further by the Sun. There's of course WW, but he's going to be arrested for his crimes pretty soon once Hank figures out that he was Heisenberg the whole time, so he doesn't really count. Even something like Armor Rouge is more useful than Scovillain, with the great wall breaking potential of its stab sun boosted armor cannon, or even Charizard, which was actually used in SPL with its stab, sun, solar power boosted fire moves that will destroy any switch in. Before Walking Wake came along, Sun teams weren't that popular, and when they were used, Scovillain wasn't really a great fit. Even when it does get going and finds a good opportunity for itself, it's not that hard to stop, and the advantages provided provided by Scovillain are just not really what Sun teams want, and that's why Scovillain is not quite spicy enough for Gen 9 OU, or Gen 9 anything, which is unfortunate because I think this is one of the most well-designed Pokemon in Gen 9. I've got to give credit to the visual design and name of this Pokemon, which they absolutely nailed. Gen 9 has some of the absolute worst Pokemon names the franchise has ever seen, like Iron Mugulus and Dash Bun. How are you even supposed to say that name? Yes, I'm aware that it's a combination of Dashund and Bun because it's a dog made of bread. Just because the name has reasoning behind it doesn't make it good. Iron Hands is named that because it's iron and it has hands. Does that make it good because there are qualities on the Pokemon that match the name? Is that what a good name is? Dash Bun does not flow the same way Dashund does. It's clunky and confusing to say out loud. I have to pause in the middle of it every time I say it. It lacks elegance because I want to say Dashund, but there's this huge B in the middle that just doesn't fit. Scovillain, on the other hand, is a great Pokemon name. It's simple, it's elegant, it's easy to say, and it's also pretty clever wordplay. A grass fire type being an angry chili pepper is perfect, and gameplay wise it's a completely unique type combination. A fire type with chlorophyll, which is very logical. It has mixed offenses and good options to complement those mixed offenses. Unfortunately, its stats are just too low to really function anywhere, which is where they missed the mark. Maybe they could have given this guy a bit more bulk. Its defenses do not need to be this low, and it could use a bit more speed as well, so it's not completely useless outside of Sun. What do you think of Scovillain? Could it be usable again in the future? Maybe if Torkoal drops to a lower tier after Home. Who's your favorite weather abuser in Gen 9? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching. Thank you to the patrons. Become a patron to appear on this fun end screen alongside your favorite Pokemon, as well as various other rewards such as video requests.
The money got different, cause of what I'm spending. The money got different,
oh, it's
cause of what
Megaphone!
I'm spending.
Whoa,
The money
KO
got
by one
different,
hit! It
cause
scattered
of what I'm
spikes!
spending. The money got different.